to stay.
Hello and welcome back to Beyond Boards, a podcast dedicated to the actions and interests of skaters beyond skateboarding. My guest today, Kuba Kaczmarczyk, started skating in Warsaw, Poland in the early 90s. In 1998, he bought his first camera and started filming his friends. Fast forward a few years, in 2012 he released his first full-length video called Grey Area, showcasing some of the best skaters from Central and Eastern Europe of that time on their home ground. In the following years, the name Grey Area became slowly but surely a tight-knit crew and more recently a brand with a very strong identity and aesthetic throughout the many videos they put out regularly. I had the opportunity to sit down with him for a quick chat in February 2023 as he's about to release a new promo video for Grey Area. So here's my conversation with Kuba. I hope you'll enjoy it. Thank you so much, man. Really honored to talk with you. I've been obviously a fan of your videos for a long time, and I've been meaning to get you on the podcast for a little bit. So yeah, thank you so much. It's going to be fun.
Thank you for having me.
So I usually start these interviews the same way with every guest and usually kind of ask them how they started skating, basically. First of all, I was curious to ask you how to say your full name. I'm French, so I don't know how to pronounce it right. I know, so Kuba is your nickname, right? Your name is actually Jakub, or?
Yeah, my name is Jakub, but Kuba is like John and Johnny, you know?
Right,
so
okay.
Every Jakub in Poland is called Kuba. It's like less formal, let's say.
Okay, I see. And what about your last name? How do you say your last name?
That's, that's a hard one. That's a tongue twister, especially for the foreigners. For us, it's super easy to pronounce, but... Okay, so my full name is Kuba Kaczmarczyk.
Kaczmarczyk. Okay. Oh, okay. That's easier than I thought. Okay.
Yeah, because it's like it looks very tough when you look at it. Because due to Polish letters, you know, it looks pretty random, right? Like, so I have a funny story about a friend of mine who lives. Actually, he's half Canadian, half Polish, but his parents moved to Canada, and he was born in Canada already, and he has Polish passport.
Okay.
So when he was like at the border, either like going out or coming back to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
The people at the custom, they looked at his passport and they thought his last name, which is Wawrzynczak, it's super random. The letters are super random for foreigner. So they thought it's a passport number instead of like his name.
Oh my god. Okay, they're like, what's wrong with this passport?
Yeah.
Like, So yeah, tell me, like, how did you start skating? So you grew up in Poland. Do you live in Warsaw, and is that where you grew up?
Yes, I do. I was born and raised here in Warsaw, and I lived the whole life.
Okay.
In this city. Never planned to move out, I think.
And so, what year did you start skating?
Before this meeting, before the interview, I tried to remember like all the milestones, let's say.
Yeah.
Of my life, and I think it was end of either 90 or 90. I was in the 8th grade, that's for sure. I was 14.
Okay.
So that was probably 1990. That's when I got into like the real skating. You know, because I'm not talking about like the riding the toy, you know.
Yeah, sure.
Or whatever, but I was...
Proper skating.
Yeah, proper skating, yeah. I consider myself as a skateboarder as of 1990, I think.
And do you remember, like, your introduction to it? Was it through a friend or a family relative?
Yes, I did. Actually, my story is pretty similar to every person from my generation, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, like, the circumstances around me was different. But people at from my generation got sparked by 3 things. I'm talking about Europe in general.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know how it is but like hearing like people's stories, I think there was like 3 things. First one was the movie Back to the Future.
Right, yeah.
This one I kind of missed. I watched it like afterwards when the second and the third one came out, so I missed this opportunity.
These ones came out, I think, in 85, 86, around there. I think the first one.
I remember, like, because unfortunately I have a good memory. I remember like stuff that happened early on of my life, but I don't remember what happened yesterday. So I remember like being in my 5th grade when it was played in Polish, at least Polish cinemas. I don't know like how up to date we were, you know, with the
American movies.
With American movies back then. So it was like 80 something. So I missed this one. Then the second thing that sparked people, that was Police Academy 4.
Oh, yeah.
This one I watched, but it didn't show the culture of skating. It showed only like the... I was focused on something else in this movie, let's say, so...
It didn't really spark you at that point?
No, it did not. It did not at all.
Okay.
So the third movie actually that I remember like being stoked on, and that showed actually like the whole culture of skateboarding really in depth, I'm talking about Gleaming the Cube with Christian Slater. And then back then I was really into movies, especially like the teen, like high school ones, so I was a big fan of Karate Kid, or Lost Boys, like the movies from the 80s.
Okay.
So about the, American teenagers in the high school and the...
I don't remember that movie, Gleam the Cube. I mean, the title is familiar, but I don't think I've seen it.
It's amazing. You have to watch it.
Okay, yeah. I'll check it out for sure.
So the whole Bones Brigade plays there. Tony Hawk, he rides a van. There's like this final scene when Tony Hawk drives a van and the whole crew is in the back. And then they like jumping out the van and they started like skating down the hill. It's like the scene is epic, amazing.
Okay.
So I still to this day I have some of the scenes I have like I remember exactly because the main character has this friend. So the friend has his like a crib, let's say, buried in the ground. So it's like this wagon when you like carry the fuel like a...
Oh, yeah. Like
I don't know how to say it in English, like the...
Yeah, I think it's in citerne in French, like a big...
cisterna in Polish. Yeah, so we are talking about the same thing. So it's buried in the ground, so he lives there.
Okay.
He has like the whole, like the warehouse there, many boards, and then there's this scene when the character played by Christian Slater, he sets up the board, in this, in his friend's spot, and he gives him like the different boards to try, and he finally, he chooses the one. And I remember like he's giving him the wheels, and he's saying something like, but these ones are way too fast. And he's like, okay, so that's the one for me. and since it's like this cistern thing, so they can also like ride a skateboard inside of it, because it's a little, it's like a full pipe,
Okay, I see.
It's really amazing. Of course, it's for that time, I thought there was amazing, but now like I can see like also it was kind of cheesy,
Yeah.
But still, like for the people from my generation, I think everybody is very sentimental about the movie.
Yeah.
Christian Slater.
You were inspired.
Yes.
So how was the skate scene back in the day in Poland? I'm sure it was very small. Were you able to access like skateboarding gear somewhat easily, or how was it like the first few years of skating?
Okay, so back in the 80s, like most of the people that skated this plastic skinny board. I even have it here so I can show it. It was made in Poland.
Oh, yeah, wow.
And it was we call it roller.
Yeah, okay.
So there was roller boards. Yeah, everybody had it. And then, when the old system kind of fall, so then the market was opened for the new things. So wider boards started coming, and we call them wideboard because it was wider than the plastic one,
obviously, for sure.
But, of course, they had like a really shitty quality, So once you buy it, the next day it was already wrecked.
Oh, damn.
I think in one of your podcasts somebody was talking about it. Maybe it was Julian. He called it like a supermarket board or whatever, because it was available in the supermarkets.
Okay.
For us, we didn't have like a sporting goods stores yet, so we could buy it, on the black market or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, I bought it, after I watched the movie, the Gleaming the Cube one.
Yeah.
But it lasted for a few days, actually. So then I started like thinking what to do next, because for sure there is some boards with better quality, you can ride for longer than, a few days. And the funny thing, we already had a skate shop, like a proper skate shop.
Oh, really?
Back
Okay.
then. Yes. So the story is, there was one guy, of course he had nothing to do with skateboarding, but he met this guy in Sweden, in Stockholm. He's a former freestyle pro from Sweden. His name is Per Holknecht.
Mm-hmm.
And so he kind of, convinced him to start selling boards in Poland. So he did. He opened the skate shop. Actually, we had really, really good skate shop, assortment-wise at least, because of course they didn't support, the scene at all. They were just a random, dudes, without like any knowledge about skating, and they didn't know how to run the shop. I remember like the clerks were super random guys with the mustache and the big beard,
Okay.
They could have also worked in the grocery store or be, I don't know, butcher or whatever.
Do you remember the name of that shop or?
Yeah, Street Style.
Okay.
And it was like a franchise of the Swedish one, run by Per Holknecht.
Okay.
I think then in Sweden they changed the name. And I even worked in Street Style.
Oh, okay, yeah.
A few years after, yeah. So we had this shop, but the boards were super hard they were super pricey.
Oh, yeah?
So they weren't that affordable, So I remember saving the money for months to be able to buy the first board. And I remember I still remember the day when I bought my first board. It was fall, I think that was 1990.
Mm-hmm.
So my first board was Paul Peralta, Mike McGill.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I also remember there was two types of boards. Because in 1991, there was already the board with longer nose.
Oh, yeah?
Back then, I don't know how familiar you are with the evolution of...
The shapes, yeah, a little bit, but not a whole lot.
But, So back then, the nose were super short. It was 5 to 10 centimeters.
Right, yeah.
So these ones were already kind of old, so it was cheap. They were cheaper. But the new ones with the long nose, they were 2 times more expensive.
Oh, wow.
So I only could afford the cheaper one.
Okay.
Which was still super expensive for me and my parents. But I bought the, Mike McGill with the shorter nose.
How were your parents appreciative of your desire to skate? Were they supportive or were they kind of looking at it like it's
50-50? My mom was, but my dad, he was not.
He wasn't hyped?
No, he was not. He's super old school.
Okay.
He'd rather see me, learning more, doing some more, mature stuff instead.
Yeah. Okay, I see. So before we talk about filming and starting Gray Area, that's farther down the road, but in between, so you've been skating for years, and before you picked up a camera, were you trying to get sponsored? Were you aspiring to become pro someday? Were you kind of thinking of that, or were you always just skating for fun and not really,
I think that's, every skater has it in back of his head.
For sure, yeah.
So of course I was pursuing this dream.
Yeah. But did you come sort of close, or did you have sponsors, or?
I was even on the Polish sheep team.
The shoes?
Yes.
Yeah. I do remember those, yeah.
That was one of the Soltec.
Right, yeah.
Brands.
Yeah.
Very short-lived. But I think still to this day, I think that was the best brand they had.
Oh, yeah.
I think that part of it was that in the OG team, in the American team, all of the riders were vegetarians or vegans.
Oh, that's right, yes.
So I think part of it that I got, on the Polish one was that I was also.
Oh.
I still, to this day, I don't eat meat, so maybe that was that.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Are you vegetarian or vegan?
Now I'm vegan.
Okay.
Yeah, but back then I was vegetarian.
Yeah, well, yeah, at that time, I'm sure it was nowhere near as popular, so to speak, as today. Being vegetarian or vegan in the 90s, I'm sure you were very lonely compared to today with
I mean, yes and no, because of course, as you mentioned, it was not as popular as it's now, so so you have to know the spots where to go to if you want to eat something in the city. But I was hanging out with the people that were vegetarians as well.
Okay.
I was going to the punk shows, and then most of the people on the punk scene were not most, but there was a lot of vegetarians.
The straight edge kind of movement and everything.
Yes.
Right. So tell me about starting to film. I saw this little interview you did with Shinner not too long ago, for their Instagram. I read on there that you bought your first camera in 98, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably that's the truth. Yeah. Because it's it was so long ago, but it was either 97 or 98.
Okay.
Or 99. But yeah, let's say it was 98. When, Daniel interviewed me, so probably I checked, so probably it was 98.
Okay.
It was a long time ago, anyway.
So, do you remember like what inspired you to buy this camera? I mean, obviously you were skating with friends and probably wanted just to shoot your friends and make homey videos and everything. But did you have other friends around you at that time that had videos and that kind of influenced you into buying your own camera, or?
Yeah, because back then there was the other friend of mine who filmed in Warsaw. He was like a main filmer in Warsaw.
Okay.
Funny thing, his name is Kuba too.
There's a bunch of you out there, yeah.
Okay, so background stories. When I was in my primary school, I was the only Kuba in my school. Back then, it was super popular name for dogs.
Oh my god.
So yeah,
that's hilarious.
No longer anymore. But so when somebody wanted to diss me, he said that I have a dog's name. Either this or that I have a female name because it ends with A.
Oh, okay.
You know.
I see.
Okay, so getting back to your question. So, as I said, I was the only Kuba, but it happened somehow that within skateboarding there is loads of us.
Mm-hmm.
And it, causes many confusions and confuses people.
Yeah.
Because, it happened to me a lot that, for instance, somebody would come over to Warsaw, he meets me up, and he says, okay, and this and that guy says hello to you. And I was like, but I don't know this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I figured out he was saying hello to the other Kuba.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah, anyway, so Kuba filmed in Warsaw, and, of course, I thought that I can do it better. No, I'm joking, of course, but my approach was different, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
He was more into, like Plaza skating and stuff like this. His favorite videos was World Industries,
101.
Yeah, I was into, let's say, more raw type of skating.
Right.
And I wanted to, to highlight my crew. And so, yeah, that was the main purpose of the fact that I bought my first camera.
So how did you kind of learn how to film and how to edit and everything in the following years? Were you kind of self-taught, or did you have friends like this other Kuba? Did he kind of help you to figure it out and learn, or?
Yeah, I think I still haven't learned how to film properly. It's a never-ending process.
Yeah, exactly.
But of course, early stage was hanging out with Kuba, talking to him,
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I would watch a lot of skate videos, try to do what the, American cameramen were doing.
Who were some videographers in the States or elsewhere that kind of influenced you in these early years of you filming? Were there videos specifically that kind of really impressed you at that time for their quality or their content, or?
Yep. So I can, name a lot of people, but on the early stage of my filmmaking, for sure, that was Jamie Thomas with his fisheye style, and Dan Wolf.
Oh yeah, Eastern Exposure.
Eastern Exposure, yes. So these two guys, for sure. And then, the third guy that I was looking to was Fred Mortan.
Yeah, French Fred Mortagne.
French Fred Mortagne. Mm-hmm.
I think Pontus Alve as well must have been an influence for you, especially when you started Gray Area. Because, for example, the first Gray Area video, when I watched it, I remember having the same kind of feeling from Pontus's early videos, like Strongest of the Strange.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was wondering, if you had met with him at that time, and were you kind of influenced by his style of filmmaking, or was that, the resemblance is just kind of coincidental?
No, I mean, he was also he taught me a lot, I would say. But not the actual act of filmmaking, but he taught me that I shouldn't then I don't have to necessarily be a local filmer. I can go,
wherever?
Go bigger, let's say. Yeah, so sky's the limit type of thinking.
Yeah.
But of course, he's a, very talented videographer, and he also showed me some tricks, with the camera.
Sure.
Big up Pontus.
I'm jumping back to present time, but I was wondering, who are some videographers today that you enjoyed the work of, are there videos that you watched recently that really impressed you or surprised you? Or are you kind of not paying too much attention to what's coming out and trying to focus more on doing your own thing with Gray Area, or?
I mean, it's an interesting question, because being as old as I am made me, be kind of picky with what I consume nowadays.
Sure.
Because I don't want to sound like I'm too cool to be up to date, but you can't,
Oh, there's so much. There's a full length every day, more or less, or yeah.
Yeah. So I'm very selective with what I watch.
Mm-hmm.
because my time is limited, you know. Except for like being a skater and a skate nerd, I'm also like a full-time dad. I work, you know.
Yeah.
I try being up to date, so I still enjoy, and of course I still, you know, watch videos, and I enjoy watching polar videos.
Oh yeah, the last one.
The last one was nice.
Yeah, it was cool.
I like the limousine videos.
Oh yeah.
What else? I like the, you know, the Euro scene.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many good videos coming from Europe.
So, from what I understood, Gray Area started with the first video, which is called Gray Area, and which came out in 2012. And so, can you tell me about like this first project, and how did you come up with the name also?
Okay, so actually, yes and no, because originally that was just a name for the video.
Mm-hmm.
Then I made the next one, which was called Neverwhere. And I was about to, you know, to retire. So I really wanted to, you know, to call it.
After Neverwhere?
And after Neverwhere, you know, focus on skating.
Your family life, your work.
Yeah, or living, you know, because I was kind of burned out. So I didn't film for a few months after we released Neverwhere. And then Daniel Yuga
Stankovic, yeah.
Stankovic, yes, he hit me up. That he just asked, you know, what's up, you know, what do I do? And I was like, okay, but I'm retired as a filmer. And then he kind of, so I was also like kind of done with VX.
Oh yeah.
And he kind of convinced me to maybe if I like buy a HD, maybe that will become like the new challenge, you know, for me. So it will be more interesting.
Yeah.
You know, so I was okay, maybe you're right. And then I did buy the new camera. I started learning how to use it from the scratch pretty much. And then, so it became interesting again. And then I also wanted to, you know, to change the format, you know, because I didn't want to, you know, to film like 5 or 6 years for another full length.
Oh yeah.
So instead of that, I wanted to focus on shorter videos instead. And I wanted to like to give it a name of the whole brand / project. So I think like the Gray Area is it's a cool one. Like
yeah.
That was also like the video that was quite, you know,
iconic,
recognized in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I gave it Gray Area name.
So the name for the crew and the project came after Neverwhere then?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I thought it had started after the first video.
No. There is no Gray Area logo in Neverwhere.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, talking about the logo, who made that logo? Because I think it's amazing. Like, it looks really cool. It's very simple, but super well made.
Yeah, it's kind of trippy, you know, with this to do the cross.
Yeah.
It's a friend of mine, Michal too.
Okay.
We used to skate, you know, back in the days.
Is he the same Michal who does like the animations or?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna say his last name because that's a very hard one, but
it's even hard.
yeah, that's super hard for me.
His nick is Fuzzy. It's easier.
Okay.
You know, he got this nickname after, you know, the Fuzzy Bear from the Muppet Show.
Okay.
He's a very talented, you know, graphic designer.
So he's the one who came up with the logo then.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done the animations for the more recent projects, right? But before that, I think it was Pavel, right?
There was other guy, Pavel. Mm-hmm.
Right,
yeah.
Okay.
It's also like my old skate homie.
Uh-huh.
But Pavel just focused on different things. He still skates, but he just, you know, he doesn't have time for
to focus on skate videos a lot. Okay, I see.
Yeah, he does, you know, more developed projects, you know. Still in the graphic world, but...
What about the name for the first video? What made you decide to choose Gray Area?
Okay, so back then, you know, Warsaw, because that's my city, that's my focus, you know.
Yep.
Warsaw was very gray. It was starting from architecture to, you know, to general vibe of the people. It was kind of depressing, sad, I don't know. I mean, for me, like, when I, like, think about my childhood or my teenage years, it's all bright, you know? But looking from the different angle, if I watch now at the old pics, you know, of Warsaw or even, like, the videos, even skate videos, it looks kind of grayish, you know? So I think that was the perfect name for the video, Gray Area.
Okay.
And it's also like the name that I wanted to kind of change, because I wanted to show that even in this gray area there's also like good things coming from it, you know.
And so who were some of the very first members of the crew? So we mentioned Michal Juras. I don't know if he was in the very first Gray Area video. I don't remember. But like, who were some of the OGs kind of Gray Area?
So that's definitely Michal. He had the last part in the Gray Area video.
Okay.
There is also Chris, but Chris kind of left. I mean, we're still like a very good friends, but he started like filming with other friend of ours. Mm-hmm. But, you know, he's a Gray Area OG and one of my best friends. And other Kuba, photographer Kuba.
Yes.
Another confusion, you know. The guy who runs...
Bashowski, right? Something like that?
Bączkowski. Yeah, that's the guy.
Okay.
So these three guys are the OGs.
First members. Okay.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about like working, especially with Michal, the guy who helps you with the animations and like the visuals. Mm-hmm. How do you kind of select the images that you use throughout your videos? Like, for example, I remember seeing in different projects that you made, like there's images of like explosions, planes, like futuristic kind of imagery. And sometimes it's like more like nature driven, like there's animals like wolves or like there's eyes coming into the picture or something. So I was just wondering, how do you kind of work on like the atmosphere that goes with the skating, you know? Like how do you pick the images? Do you do that yourself, or do you kind of sit down with Michal and talk together of how you want this project to look?
Okay, so like the futuristic kind of like the retro sci-fi type of vibe that was in the Gray Area, that was all Pavel's idea. That was like the previous guy I was working with.
Yeah.
So it's his thing, and he kind of even like chose the moments where to put, you know, the breaks.
Right.
So I'm not gonna dare to say, because I wouldn't like lie if I like start like talking that was my idea. It was not.
Okay.
It was his, but of course I had to agree on certain things, you know.
Sure.
So it was like our mutual work, and then it was a long journey, you know, because we are both very strong characters, I would say. So
okay.
There was some arguments, you know, throughout the
on how to make it look and everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, it worked out. It looked great in the end. So yeah.
Thanks. But like as of Gray Area, like the HD Gray Area, I started working with Michal, and his style is different, you know. Mm-hmm. I would describe it as more industrial.
Okay.
So it's more like animations. He's like responsible for the, you know, all the animations, the stories. But beforehand, we talked about the vibe. So I did like all the editing stuff, and then I also choose the music, which kind of like drives the vibe for the video.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that as well, the music, yeah.
But of course, like animations and all the graphics plays a super big role in the video. So so it's also, again, super hard. We also argue a lot. So it's a tough one, definitely, to align, you know, sometime. But it's all, you know, you always end up on like having...
Agreeing?
We're good.
Yeah.
We're good, you know, but in the middle of the process, it's sometimes it's not as funny.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
You know, when
yeah, when you're deep in the editing process, I'm sure it must be exhausting.
We are both very emotional about like the stuff we do, and then we also like, again, we are all very strong characters. So
yeah, perfectionists, I'm sure. Yeah, you want it to look really good. Mm-hmm. So, for example, like, let's say on a more recent project that you've done, so you go out, you film with all your crew. At what point do you kind of start working on a project and having an idea for like the storytelling, or like knowing like, okay, we'll do a section on this spot, for example, or we're focused maybe on this skater first, whatever, and transition like this, and kind of have the whole edit in your head and then start working on it? And do you kind of involve Michal afterwards, or is he present all the way?
It depends. It's fully dependent on the project, because there is projects that I just film for, you know. Mm-hmm. I'll talk about it later. But for instance, like we came up with this idea of like the collab with National Skate Co. Which
the Michal part. That was sick, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you. So obviously, like we knew like from the beginning that he will play the main role in the project. So
sure.
So he was like the main focus of the video. But there is projects like the, let's say, regular Gray Area projects that I just film for, you know. Mm-hmm. And since the first clip, I'm super up to date with logging the clips. So when I film something in the evening, I log the clip in the computer, and then I play with the clips I have already on the timeline.
Okay.
I tried different music, like the vibe and so on. So it's very organic, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, sometimes I have the track that I would like to use or certain thing that I would like to play with.
Mm-hmm.
But usually it's the ideas are coming up in the meantime.
Yeah, you just talked about the music, because the music in your videos are always amazing. I really enjoy them. There's a wide variety of music. There's hip-hop, rock, sometimes a bit more funky, or I don't know how to describe it. It's very eclectic. Do you select all the music yourself, or do you have sometimes writers that come up and say, oh, I'd love to, I don't know, have this song maybe on my section or whatever? Or how do you select the music for your projects?
Oh, again, it's I have no straight answer for this. Everything needs to be approved by me,
Yeah.
That's the main rule. But of course, I have writers, I have friends who, are coming up with their picks, with their ideas for songs. For instance, Yuga came up with with 2 songs for his parts, with the 2 ones. So both parts we made together. The songs he skates to are his picks, his ideas.
Okay.
And I really love them. Even though it's not my type of music, but I think it match with his skating big time. So.
In the Neverwhere video, right? Was it Brighter Days or something?
No, High Pressure Days, that's
High
a gray
Pressure
area.
Days. Yes, okay.
High Pressure Days. And then in Neverwhere there is this, I forgot the guy's name, but he's a very famous Swedish singer from back in the days.
Okay.
So he chose this one, and then in the recent videos, Michal, the graphic designer Michal, he also picks a lot of tracks. He's more into electronic music, so he gives me a lot of this type of music to consider.
I don't remember seeing a project of yours with much electronic music in it.
Yes, because at the beginning, I'm not a...
You're not a big fan?
No, not really, but I became more, flexible with it, and I started liking some electronic music as well.
Mm-hmm.
When it makes sense, of course, In the upcoming video, there will be some, yeah.
I was wondering also, is this a bit random, but I saw in the credits of your videos, that name came up pretty much every time. It's Kuba Kaczmarczyk, your last name. That's your wife, right?
Yes, that's my wife.
And she does the coloring?
Yeah,
is that what it's called?
Color grading. Mm-hmm.
Color grading, yes.
Because she's a pro.
That's her job, okay.
Yeah, that's her job, and then she used to work in post-production in a big company.
Okay.
She would do the commercials for TV, but she quit, and right now she's a university teacher, and she teaches After Effects and.
Okay, cool. That's nice. She's helped you with pretty much every project, video project that you released, or?
Yeah, she does color grading pretty much. Yeah, she's super good in it. Yeah, she's very quick with it and good, which is
valuable.
Valuable, yes.
Cool. And so I'm jumping ahead to Neverwhere, but I was curious to ask you about filming with. Is it in Neverwhere that Danny Fuenzalida has a part?
Yeah.
I believe so, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So most of your videos until, the gray area one and then the Neverwhere video was mostly in Europe, but then all of a sudden there's this whole section with Danny.
Yeah, it's pretty random, right?
Yeah, but it's cool, it's amazing, and it's very complimentary because it's a whole different scenery in Florida. But I think half of his part is in Europe, more or less, and half is in the States, around there.
Yeah.
But how did you connect with him, and how was that experience of filming in the States at that time? It must have been quite a different experience from filming in Eastern Europe or Central Europe.
Yeah, so I used to work in the international company, and I would travel a lot, for work.
Yeah.
We traveled to many different random destinations in the whole world, and finally there was a time that we had this trip to Miami, and I was like, okay, maybe I should take this opportunity, and link up with the local guys.
Yeah.
So I asked a friend of mine, Kaspar from
Yes, Van Lierop, yeah.
Van Lierop, yes, if he has any hookup over there, and he had, obviously, so he hooked me up with Danny. So
okay.
That was pretty. Usually I don't do this online type of dating, let's say.
Yeah.
I prefer the traditional way of meeting people.
Sure.
But for this case, I was like, fuck it, let's
give it a try. Yeah.
Yeah, let's give it a try, and it worked out. it was really, really nice experience. So we met up with Danny. I think that was 2013.
Okay.
And I also, he introduced me to the other guys in Miami. I liked it a lot, so I would like come back a few times there. And Danny also like would come to Warsaw, and we also went to Sweden together.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's how the part was filmed.
I think Neverwhere came out in 2018, right?
Maybe.
Because you just said you met with Danny in 2013, so that means it took a long time until that first meeting and like when the video eventually came out.
Filming was always like a long process to me. I remember like Danny, he would give me like hard time for taking it so long. But I just loved it, I call it like the chasing the rabbit type of process, like I just love like this long term
projects like these.
Yes, yeah. No longer anymore, because
yeah, now you do shorter, quicker ones.
Yeah.
But still very good, but yeah, different obviously, yeah.
Yeah, I think like this formula just died out, Today's viewers, people want to be more up to date, with what's happening.
Yeah, you don't want to see a part with footage from 5 years ago or something.
I mean, some people can still do that, but you can count them on...
Yeah, like on the fingers of two hands or...
Yeah.
And so after Neverwhere, you did some, like in more recent times, I saw 2 projects that you did on plazas in Warsaw, and they're called Culture of Grey. There was one on, it's called the Culture Palace, and the second one, which came out not too long ago, was Vitos or Vitos. I'm not sure how to say that.
Vitos,
yeah. So yeah, these were really cool. They were like short, but only on one spot, and I'm sure it must have been an interesting approach for you, different, because like your projects are usually, you go pretty much everywhere and film on random spots and everything. You're not a plaza filmer originally, as you said before. It's not really like what you grew up doing, and So yeah, how did this idea for these projects come about, and are there new ones coming soon, hopefully?
As I already mentioned, I get bored, quite quick. So I just wanted to have a, new challenge, I think. Especially with the Palace of the Culture and Science, this spot.
Yeah.
It's so huge. Like the area is so big, so you can find everything pretty much there, You can film like the whole video. Full length.
Yeah.
There. So I always wanted to, to film there more and maybe make a video or edit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was super hard to convince like the guys, especially Michal, because he's like doesn't like.
He likes to go like spot searching and yeah.
Yes, he likes this obscure
You can see that in his parts for sure.
Yeah, type of aesthetic.
Yeah.
So and having him like the main rider, it was harder than now, because once like the more people started coming to the picture, then it was quite easier, because like I just started filming with them.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to adapt and
sure.
And he also managed to film like
some good clips.
Yeah. And I think it's good to to step out of your comfort zone time to time,
Yeah.
And try different things, even though like when you hear about it, maybe it sounds a little bit weird.
Mm-hmm.
But then you can also add your flavor to the project, make it more
your own,
custom made. Yeah, so I like trying new things, because otherwise
you get stuck.
It would be boring.
Yeah, for sure.
But indeed we got stuck, for this project we got stuck at these certain spots. It was really crazy, and it felt so weird, like once we made this project, especially like the first one with
Culture Palace.
Because it felt really weird to be out on the streets again, somewhere else.
Yeah.
Really. And we talked about it, that was kind of crazy to be kind of able to explore the city again. Because it like every day felt like Groundhog Day,
Yeah.
We started like at the same, like 3-star, and then we would like warm up there, and then we would skate, around the palace, and try to come up with the new ideas for tricks.
Yeah.
But it was fun, definitely.
And so are there going to be other ones or other ideas of focusing on Warsaw or other iconic spots in Poland?
No. I mean, not this year. Never say...
Yeah, never say never.
Never. But for this year, it's not included in my plans, let's say.
Okay.
I mean, yes and no. Yes, I'm not gonna spoil. Yes and no. But we'll see. I don't want to also like claim something and then
not do it
feel responsible.
Sure. Yeah, I understand.
So I have nothing filmed yet, so
there are some ideas, but nothing kind of on the tracks yet. Okay.
Exactly.
This is kind of a random question, but I was wondering, like, since Gray Area has become, so the first video was 12 years ago, as you said, it kind of became more of a brand after Neverwhere, as you did the logo, and now it has really an identity, and like there's more and more people that are involved with it, like younger writers and everything. I was wondering if you had ever considered doing like a board brand, or like a clothing brand or a hardware brand of some sort, like kind of piggybacking on these projects, or would you rather just keep it as a crew of friends and just film and do good videos and not try to, use that to promote products, basically?
Okay, so of course I think in most of the skaters' dreams is to run a brand, So I thought about it too. So yes, I would like to, but considering, today's,
market
reality. Yeah, the market, which is super packed.
Competitive as hell, yeah.
Yeah, and the economic circumstances are very tough to start a brand now,
Sure.
The prices are skyrocketing, everything is, super expensive. We have the war, around the corner.
Yeah.
So the vibe is not super friendly, But we'll see. Yeah, of course, I'm thinking about it, and
maybe one day.
Maybe one day, maybe sooner than later, but for sure not boards, Boards are, I think...
Tough market to get into, yeah.
Very tough, it's very expensive to order, there is minimums, there is... and the competition is super strong,
Yeah.
It's hard to, to compete. Like, look at the Dwindle.
Yeah, they just shut down or, yeah.
So you have to be really either brave or crazy, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
To start the brand, now.
But because it's already a brand, that's what I was saying also. Yeah, you already have a very strong identity and you're already like selling clothes, like t-shirts, hoodies and stuff. Probably beanies, caps, I don't know. But yeah.
Okay, so I leave it like this. There is something
in the works?
In the works.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have kind of a date or not yet for a release?
Spring 2023.
Oh, okay. So with the next video.
Yeah. Because I'm going to release the promo. It's not going to be the video.
Okay, yeah.
It's going to be a promo, so shorter.
Kind of like the last ones, like 10 to 15 minutes around there, or?
Maybe less. Less than 10.
Less than 10, okay.
But I will save some clips, so hopefully by the end of this year, we're going to come up with a semi-full length. Full length for today's standards, let's say.
Okay.
Which is 15 minutes.
That's great, yeah. I really liked the last ones you did. Yeah, they were all... there's not one video that I disliked, but of course, I just watched again yesterday the push button to destroy the world one. That was not too long ago, like a year ago, maybe, or...
That was, it was released exactly a year ago. So March 20...
Yeah, because it was right after the beginning of the war, yeah. I hadn't noticed that the first time I saw it, but there was this little message at the end saying basically fuck Putin or something. Do you try to have like some sort of political agenda, so to speak, throughout your video project, or not really? And that was just because of the release of that project and also the title and like the overall theme of that video, or...
Okay, so the main influence for the title came from Ed Templeton's board. He had this board.
Toy machine board?
Toy machine board. There was this alien about to push the button, and it said, and above the button it said, push the button to explode the earth.
Oh, okay. That was the inspiration?
That was the inspiration, but the timing was so perfect. I'm sorry to say, but...
Well, yeah, no, unfortunately it was,
it matched with the beginning of the war, so in this case, of course, the message was there, and then, yeah, I love, the hidden messages,
Yeah.
I'm interested in politics, not as I was, when I was younger, but still, I pay attention what's happening around me.
Sure.
And there is also another message, kind of hidden.
In that same video, or?
In this video, yeah. Not message, but there is one thing to,
to notice?
To consider. To notice, but I think maybe for the guy outside of Poland, it's not as obvious.
I'll have to watch it again and try to figure it out. Yeah, okay. And so to kind of wrap it up with the filming and Gray Area, I was wondering what's a favorite thing to do with these projects? Is it going on filming missions with your friends? Is it more the afterwards editing and kind of going through this whole process of making the video? Is it other things around that? What's your favorite thing to do?
Okay, so back then it was like the act of filming, you know, being out on the streets.
Yeah.
I still love being on the streets, you know, and hang out with the guys, being in the mix, you know, being part of the city. I still love it, and I consider myself as a city guy. Because that was like the period of time when we moved out of Warsaw, like for a few years.
Oh, yeah?
To the suburbs, yeah, we live in the house there. That was actually when I was filming for Grey Area. But we had to move back because, you know, we missed the city a lot, you know.
Okay. How long were you living outside of the city for?
4 years, maybe. We moved out 2008 and we moved back 2012.
Okay.
So yeah, I love like being in the city. But right now I think like the most exciting part of making the video is logging the footage and checking it on the timeline.
Right.
Especially like coming back from the trip when you have like many clips, you know, stacked, and you want to like put it in the timeline, play with it, you know, try it in the different order, basically like see the timeline growing. That's super exciting.
Yeah, it must be, yeah.
So even like since the day one, I make the selection, you know, I leave some clips over, you know, it's very exciting. Because especially now when I got older, you know, like actual act of filming became very hard, you know, especially like filming with fisheye. I remember like my friend Tom, you know.
Tom Remillard or?
Remillard, yes. He said once, because we had one of our friends, you know, wanted me to film his line.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe my face expression wasn't that great. And Tom was like, hey, these guys, they just hate filming. You know, all of them, they hate filming because it's so tiring. And he was so on point with it. No, but I love filming. I love filming, but, you know, it's just sometimes at the end of the day when I'm kind of tired, you know.
Yeah.
So then I film it with long lens instead, you know, so it's...
relax a bit more. Yeah. Yeah. Been doing all these projects for the last 15 years around there, and so aside of that you have like a family, you also work. I saw that you worked for Nike SB for a number of years, and so I was wondering like how do you juggle between all these things, because it must be quite a lot of pressure and things to do, and how have you managed to find balance between like these three main components that are like work, family, and skateboarding or filming?
First of all, I have I have the best wife in the world, and she's kind of cool with me. I mean, she's not cool with me being away, but we are still together, you know? So,
yeah.
Because, of course, I know it's not like, sometimes she'd rather like see me at home so I can be more helpful.
Mm-hmm.
But she's very tolerant. So, yeah, she's a big factor of it, you know, of balancing me.
Sure.
But regarding work, when I was working for SB, like all the, you know, on the business trips, like I mentioned, like the one with
Florida?
Miami, Florida, because there was more of them. So I was like taking this opportunity and I tried to film in the meantime.
Right, yeah.
And it also like helped me a little bit because I met a few friends, you know. Oh, by the way, you guys, obviously, the OG.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck, I forgot about Daniel.
From
you
the
guys,
Grey Area crew, yeah.
Grey Area OG, of course.
Of course, yeah. Because he was already working at Nike SB at the time?
Yeah, he was there before me.
How long were you working with them, actually? Was it a long time, or...?
I mean, it's hard to tell because I worked for Nike for 12 years. But it wasn't like working for SB all the time.
Oh, it was different divisions of Nike?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, yeah, it must have been interesting, though, yeah.
Yeah, it was a long journey, you know, but it got to the end last year.
And you actually just started a new job, right?
Yes, I did.
How is it going so far? I mean, it's only been like a week or two?
It's 2 weeks, you know.
Okay.
So I work for this fashion store, Soto, in Berlin.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah, from Warsaw.
What do you do for them?
I take care of the stock, you know, and the product flow. But probably there will be more duties added to the store. We'll see. So again, we are going to Berlin next week, and I'm gonna stay like a few days longer, and I'm gonna meet up with my friends over there and
film some clips.
Yeah, if the weather is good, if it doesn't snow, hopefully we'll get something.
Also, I was wondering, like, I saw in the same thing, the Shinner interview, you said, I'm going to quote you on this. You said, sometimes you have to be a psychologist for the writer. They need a special treatment while trying a trick. I thought that was interesting. And I was just wondering if you had maybe a story that kind of illustrates what you said, like of a skater that was kind of battling a trick and that you kind of helped get through it.
I think every filmer deals with it. And then, of course, it's fully dependent on the rider and situation.
Sure.
Because sometimes the same rider can react differently in different...
locations or, yeah, sure.
Different locations. So you have to analyze things in the meantime while filming, you know, and try to help him. Sometimes he needs to be, you know, like hugged, and he needs to hear, you know, like, come on, you can do it all the time.
Motivation.
For instance, Ennis is quite funny because he talks a lot, but he doesn't like to be answered. He just, you know, talks a lot. He just like analyzes everything, like how to make this trick.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't want to go into the conversation. He just wants to hear, yes, okay, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. There is some riders like Michal, he gets mad super quick. So sometimes you don't want to even like say anything to him because it makes it even worse, you know? Yeah. And sometimes the joke is needed, you know? And so the joke becomes a solution. So unfortunately, I don't have an example.
You have to be super adaptable, basically.
Yeah. And then, because, you know, like skateboarding is hard and it's dangerous. So the guys like trying the gnarly tricks they're going through hell sometimes, you know?
Sure.
Mentally and physically, so, you know? After like 7, same looking slam, you know? You started like to thinking if it's really worth trying more, you know?
Yeah.
So sometimes you as a filmer, you need to be the guy, hey, come on, like, you're good, fine. Let's leave it like this, let's come back tomorrow, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's becoming, you know, too risky, you know?
Yeah.
Luckily, I didn't witness a really serious slam.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing has been broken, I think.
There was one slam, I don't know if you filmed that one, but Michal Juras, he, sacked a rail?
Oh, yes, yeah, that was, yes, actually.
Were you with him when that happened?
Yes, I was there, I filmed that.
It was a gnarly injury, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, because he looked fine, you know, afterwards. Of course, it was super, you know, it hurt him a lot and it was very painful.
Yeah.
But then he had a surgery, or even 2. So it took him, I think, 6 months to recover.
Oh, damn.
Maybe a little shorter. But yeah, but it took him a while, you know. It was kind of fucked up.
Not fun.
Yeah, not fun at all. Like I don't know how to say it in English. There is this, let's say, vein, like a pipe type of thing inside of your body when you're urine.
Oh, yeah. I think it's called the urethra.
Yeah, maybe. So it was torn.
Oh, wow. Damn.
Sorry, Michał.
Yeah.
About it. But I think he's fine with it.
Yeah,
so
okay.
We had this premiere of the video, I Only Have Eyes for You. We had this premiere in Malmö.
Uh-huh.
So he flew there carrying like the plastic bag.
Oh, damn.
Yes, with it. So, I mean, of course, we made so much fun of it.
Yeah, well, you might
but
as well.
But he wasn't laughing.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
I mean, he did a little bit, but...
yeah. That must be awful, yeah.
Yeah. So he doesn't skate rails anymore. After the slam...
He was done.
He's done with rails, yeah.
Well, he does enough gnarly shit aside from rails, so he doesn't need to do rails anymore. Yeah. It's fine.
I mean, he did one rail just to, you know, to release this curse, let's say.
Yeah.
He board slid the rail next year when he was, you know, good to skate, but except for that, I think he didn't try any rail.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense, you know. I wouldn't push him to do any rail, of course.
And so we talked earlier about the war in Ukraine. You're not in Ukraine, obviously, but you're in Poland, which is the neighboring country. And when the war started, a lot of people fled the country and sought asylum in Poland and everywhere in Europe, but mostly Poland, since it's the country right to the west of Ukraine. Yeah. And I'm sure there's still plenty of people coming on a daily basis. I was just wondering how has been your experience of witnessing that, being in Warsaw? Because I'm in France, so I don't really see this in real life, so to speak. I see it in the news. Away. Yeah, a little bit, but I see it on the news, of course, but I don't see hundreds of thousands of people coming to Paris or something. So I was just wondering, what was your experience of witnessing that firsthand?
Of course, when I've heard about the war, it was super scary because everybody thought that, you know, it will take them a few days to go through the whole country.
Yeah.
So everybody think that the next stop is Poland, you know. So we were scared, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
We were preparing kind of for the war as well.
Yeah.
Then of course like I remember like starting, you know, like noticing Ukrainian language on the streets.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Right now, I'm so used to it. Probably it's like Arabic, you know, language in
France,
in Paris.
sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So nobody like pays attention to it anymore.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of Ukrainian skaters actually
That have come to Poland.
Yeah, so the scene became bigger, you know. They are mostly, you know, young dudes. Yeah, but you can see them on the spots, especially on last year on at the Vitos Plaza.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I filmed one trick with he didn't land it, but almost filmed one trick for the Vitos edit.
Oh, okay.
With one guy from Ukraine. And then, okay, so I'm gonna spoil this, but there is one Ukrainian guy in the crew already.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but he doesn't live in Warsaw. He lives in Berlin.
What's his name?
Sasha Groshevoy.
Oh, yes. I definitely know him, yeah. I mean, I don't know him personally, but I've heard his name a bunch of times, yes.
Yeah, so he's originally from Kharkiv and he moved to Berlin.
Okay.
Actually, he left the country a few days before the war started. So they didn't know if Russia would attack, you know, Ukraine, but he just had I think his girlfriend had some business in Italy and he flew there to meet her up pretty much.
Okay.
So it was booked like way before, you know.
I see. Tough times, and it's not looking much brighter these next few days. Like we're approaching, as we're recording this, we're almost at the 1-year birthday of the attack and the war.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen next? Yeah, it's pretty fucking scary.
Yeah, it really is, you know. I remember like I would listen to so many podcasts about the war, especially like the early stage of it, you know. I'm sorry to say that like right now it kind of like the situation, especially in Poland, kind of got established. I mean, people still talk about it. It's still like a big thing, but you know, for us it's not as scary anymore.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it's hard to, you know, think only about the war, you know. Even like people living in Kiev or, you know, in like Ukrainian cities, they probably don't think about the war all the time. Because otherwise you would like get crazy.
Well, yeah. No, you have to kind of release somehow, some way and some time for sure. Like you can't be in war mode every second of your life. Otherwise you're...
Also, like as you said, like future doesn't look as bright because like this Putin is still there, you know, still ruling the country. So I don't know. I can't see any solution. I mean, there's only probably one solution. Somebody needs to execute him, you know.
Yeah, well, good luck with that, yeah. Yeah, but yeah, let's hope something like that will happen for sure.
Yeah.
So you talked about the new Gray Area video. So that will come out in the spring. Do you have a release date already or not yet?
Okay, so the plan is to release it on April.
Oh, okay, so very soon. Okay.
As I already said, it's gonna be like a little shorter video than usual. It will be like the crew montage and a little longer part of the new guy.
Okay.
In the mix.
Nice. Do you have other video projects after that one already lined up or not yet?
As I said, I saved some, you know, clips, you know. Some guys, like, they managed to film a lot last year, so I saved their clips, and the aim is to film for a kind of so-called full length by the end of the year.
Okay.
I would love to be able to, you know, to show it in Croatia at the
Vladimir Film Festival, yes. I'd love to go there one time. Yeah, it looks like a super rad event.
Yeah, it really is.
Okay, so let me wrap up with the friends' questions. I have one from Antonio Pekovic. Is that how you say his name?
I think so. I mean, he's Croatian, so I'm not an expert of pronouncing his name. But that's how I do it.
That sounds
Antonio
about
Pekovic.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
So he said, how much coffee is too much to keep a steady hand?
Nowadays, I usually stick with 2-3 max.
Okay. What kind of coffee do you drink? Do you drink like a kind of an Italian, what is it called, Bialetti kind of, like what's your coffee routine?
In the morning, I drink coffee with the mug and with oat milk.
Okay.
And the second one is without milk, so it's like Americano.
Yeah, just black coffee.
Yeah, Americano, so it's with hot water.
A lot of water, yeah.
Or espresso.
And then do you have other ones throughout the day, or is that it?
So, as I said, I have like 3 or 2, depending on because back then I used to I drink a lot of more, but not anymore, because when you get older, you start thinking about
You notice the change, yeah.
Yeah, and I did, Even though I really like coffee, it became not as good for me.
Yeah, I understand.
My hands, can be shaking.
If you have too much coffee, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let me have you listen to this one.
All right, Kuba. So here is Franek talking, and I have a question. You know me, so I'm gonna ask this. Who's your favorite skater? And name top 3, not only one.
That was Franek.
Yeah, now it makes so much sense because of that's Franek's question. When he meets a guy, if he meets you for the first time, the first thing he asks about is is your favorite skater.
Oh, really? Okay.
So yes,
it says a lot about you. Who's your favorite skater?
I don't know. I mean, he's a very special character. Franek is a special dude on and off the board.
Yeah. So what's your top 3 favorite skaters? Like the ones that come to mind. Any generation, any time.
Okay, so from the States, that would be Ed Templeton. He's always number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky Oyola, that's number 2. And number 3, it's maybe Mike Maldonado.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
It's quite random.
Yeah. He was sick, yeah. I loved him.
Yes. And maybe it's gonna sound a little crazy, but early Bam Margera.
Oh, yeah? He was super sick.
Yeah. Of course, there's obvious ones like Julian Stranger, Bobby Puglio, Karim Campbell, Mike Carroll.
Yeah.
So this is Americans from Europe. Oh, my favorite Euro skater is Vincent Bressol.
Oh, yeah.
My friend, yes.
That's funny. I actually have a question from him for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll read it to you afterwards. He's amazing.
Yeah, he really is. His part in the first Cliché video was amazing. It had so much impact on my skating back then. Stankovic is also one of my favorites. And Michal Juraš, let's say. That's my top 3.
I think I have another quick one from Franek. Let's see.
And here is another one. What was your favorite Great Area trip so far?
I can name one. I cannot, because it's I love them all. It's like picking your favorite child.
Yeah, difficult. Okay. This one is from Michal, actually. We mentioned him a bunch of times. So he said, do you feel the people you work with feel pressure from you? And he also asked, are you open for ideas from writers?
But is it Juraš?
Yes, sorry, yes, I didn't say. Yeah, Michal Juras, yes.
Okay, so people probably they feel the pressure. I can be a dickhead, that's for sure. Because especially now, since my time is very limited,
Mm-hmm.
and I have the windows where can I go out, for filming.
Yeah.
So I hate kind of like wasting the time, you know. I no longer can, like hang out at the Plaza, drink beers, because I know like in like 1 hour I have to pick up my kid, from kindergarten.
Yeah.
And the people, I mean, maybe not Michal, but the other guys, they don't know this life.
They don't have children or,
Yeah, because I've heard this kind of feedback from them. Sometimes they know that I can be a little bit pushy,
Yeah, you want to get shit done.
Yeah, and I'm trying to not to be as much.
Work on it, yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely work on it, but sometimes I fail, and but for sure it's not always, not always. And sometimes when I really love the clip, I mean, when I love the trick somebody tries,
Yep.
I already can see it in the project, it's either ender or, some transition from one to another, And I don't want like the person to quit.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not like, hopefully, I'm not like the crazy guy. And then, maybe if my face
expresses your disappointment or
that I'm a little disappointed, but I skate too, So I know the deal, and I know sometimes it's hopefully it's not such a big deal, but for sure some, especially like the younger guys, they can feel the pressure, because I'm trying to be as mellow as possible. To me, I am mellow, but maybe they feel, because like, especially when we meet for the first time, or we are like on the early stage of our relationship, maybe they think they expect something from them.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, but I think it's all good. So his second question was if I listen to his ideas.
Yeah, ideas from some of the people in the crew.
Of course I do, but I don't know if they think...
Do they believe you do?
They also think about it. But of course, I listen to the ideas, but sometimes I disagree with them.
Sure.
But I can give you a bunch of examples when their ideas happened, were made, so sure. But it's also like, especially like editing-wise, it takes some time for me I need to like convince myself that we should go in this direction.
Sure.
And of course, like trick-wise, like for Michal, I totally listen to his ideas for tricks, Also, I come up with mine, but I'm totally fine if he doesn't like my ideas, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But for like younger people, I try to kind of like
guide them.
Show them the way at the beginning. Yeah, guide them.
Okay, this next one is from Dida. Yep. I'm not sure what his full name is.
Another tongue twister. He's Michał too, Michał Zarzycki.
Okay, so he said, until I only have eyes for you, I would say. In addition to filming, you were also skating. We used to play skates on flat ground, etc. Now you're not really skating anymore. The question is, why don't you skate anymore? But how would you compare those times to now?
Okay, so indeed, I was skating a lot until 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, I had like big issues with my lower back, so I had to stop skating, and that was the beginning of the pandemic.
Is it better now?
Yeah, it is better now. It's way better. Now I'm good, so I skate again. But it took me like 2 years to recover. I tried up to 10 physiotherapists, couple doctors as well, and the last guy just found the solution of it. So imagine just gave me like the list of exercises. Mostly it was stretching.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pain was gone. And I tried like so many things, you know, like I tried pretty much everything from cryotherapy, like different exercises. The only thing I didn't have, it was surgery.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember like one doctor said that, okay, so you're at this age that you should get used to it. It's how it will be.
Yeah. Yeah, that sucks. Like, thank you.
Yeah. Actually, my brother, he gave me this guy's contact. So when I started like going to his place and like doing what he wanted me to do.
And it's been a game changer. It helped you a lot?
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So as of last year, I started skating again, slowly.
Will you have tricks in some of the future
no,
projects? No, you don't want to?
No.
You don't want to do like Alfred Hitchcock and be kind of present in your pieces?
No, in the different type of project, maybe. But not
the gray area.
No. I still love skating with with the people I started skating with, but I don't want to be filmed.
Okay, I have a few last ones and then I'll let you go.
Okay.
Let's do this one.
My question will be, I heard they call you Toy Boy in Poland. What's the story behind that? And are you proud of this nickname?
Is it Vincent or
no?
Who said that?
That's Enis.
Enis Fazliov. Okay, so the story is, as I said, at Templeton was my favorite skateboarder. All the boards I had, it was Toy Machine.
Yeah.
I was Toy Machine top to bottom, pretty much. So they just started calling me Toy Boy because of the Toy Machine.
Okay.
And of course you can't really dislike your nick because otherwise it's gonna be,
It's gonna be even more, might as well just embrace it. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Do a lot of people call you that or just a few guys?
Back in the day, everybody called me like this. Now, not so much anymore.
Okay. I didn't think of the connection to Toy Machine when he told me that. I was like, oh, okay, wait, why is his nickname Toy Boy?
Yeah, Toy. Hopefully it has nothing to do with the actual meaning.
Yeah. Okay, this next one is from Tom Remillard. He said, how long have you owned your filmer board?
Okay, so one filmer board lasts for, like, the deck for a year. He asked this question because it always looks super dirty. Because I don't clean it, it's I write on everything from mud to, to dirt.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to, my focus is on filming. So, I don't care about the board and how it looks.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. Probably because he remembers it was super dirty and stinky.
What kind of boards do you usually use for filming? Do you have a brand or like a size that you favor?
No, I write polar board as wide as possible. I have indies with cell blocks. I have like the plastic cell blocks.
Okay.
And the big wheels, big soft wheels. OJ wheels to be exact.
Yeah, you did like an edit for them not too long ago.
Yeah, we had like a call-up type of deal.
Right.
So thanks to Steve for hooking me up with wheels.
Okay, I have just a few last ones.
Jakim wybyłeś zwierzęcie, jakby miałeś wybrać?
That's my daughter. They did it in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Today So it's my younger one, Zosia. So she asked, like, what kind of animal would I like to be?
Yeah.
I have to choose.
It's not very skate related, but that's fine. So what kind of animal would you like to be, Kuba? Tell us.
I don't know. Maybe A bird?
Do you have a type of bird in
No,
mind?
I would love to fly. So any creature that flies.
Okay.
But bats are kind of gross. So birds are gross as well.
Not as gross.
I'd like to fly anyway.
All right. This one is from Vincent Bressol.
Okay.
So he said, do you have a favorite time period for filming skateboarding in Poland?
Of course, my early days, like the first year of filming, when I was skating, when I was trying
in the 90s.
Yeah, I felt good on my board, So we would switch with Pavel, the guy I was making the videos with.
Mm-hmm.
He was filming me, I was filming him. I think I didn't work yet. Maybe I worked as a freelancer, partially. There wasn't many responsibilities on me, so yeah. Salad days for life.
Yeah, more carefree times, kind of, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He also asked, being a 90s kid yourself, how is your relationship with the newer generation and what has changed?
Yeah, I think it's full dependent on the person because, it doesn't matter at the time if the guy's a dick, he's a dick,
Regardless of his age. Yeah.
Regardless of the age and of the, time we live.
Yeah.
But indeed, sometimes it's hard to get some people's approach in skating. Back in the days, there was some illegal tricks, let's say.
Oh, yeah.
That became quite hot, recently.
Yeah, Muska flips.
Yes, I mean, before they became illegal, they were super legal and hot.
Yeah. Pressure flips, stuff like that. Yeah.
Pressure flips, so even though I like doing pressure flips myself, when somebody wants me to film pressure flip,
you're not super stoked.
Having this 90s curse on me, not curse but stigma, kind of,
Yeah, I see.
So this is kind of hard to get along with the new or early grabs. That was a.
Oh yeah, those are coming back strong. Yeah.
Actually, it came back through France, I would say, through Paris, Blobbies.
Oh yeah.
They came back with this in hot.
Yeah, Kevin Rodriguez.
We did it.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So I remember we did it as a joke, when we were skating launch ramps. Nobody would do early grabs seriously because you had to ollie because that was a more developed trick,
Yeah.
Stuff like this. I mean, of course, it's not a big deal because this is just a skateboarding and it has nothing to do with I think understanding. But sometimes maybe I'm too 90s when it comes to to trick selection.
Yeah.
I like certain style, and then especially the new guys, they have hard time with convincing me
on the tricks they want to film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a generational gap and kind of a way of approaching skating that is a bit different.
This is my limit, I would say. I wouldn't consider it as a highlight. Definitely, it's my disadvantage for sure. But I'm trying to be more open,
Yeah.
Of course, and more tolerance.
Well, you have to, especially when you have younger people and Well, actually, this last question is from Agata Halikowska. Yes, who is one of the newest members.
Yeah.
And so she asked a few things. She said, what guides you in choosing the people you want to record or, I guess, film?
Mm-hmm. There's two factors, skateboarding and personality.
Okay, pretty simple.
Yeah, simple and important. I have to admire somebody's skating and I have to have a good time while filming them. And vice versa, of course.
Yeah.
We need to get along. So this is it. And because it happened, that I hit somebody up online.
Mm-hmm.
But I always made sure if the guys meet certain criteria beforehand. So I would make some research,
Yeah.
I would ask, some mutual friends. And so
if they gave the seal of approval, kind of.
Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. She also asked, and we can finish with this one, she said, do you feel like the Polish skate scene is growing in a good way? And do you have an eye on someone who will be the next gray area family member?
I think the bigger question, it's because I think Polish skate scene goes the same direction as skateboarding in general.
It's a more global thing
so
now.
I can see the, let's say, lowlights of it,
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many topics to whine about it, so maybe we shouldn't open the Pandora's box.
Yeah.
I'd rather focus on, on the positive things. So I'm stoked on the people I skate with, on the people I hang out with. I love what they do. Even if we disagree in some certain things, it's also cool because I love variety and diversity, you know. But there's some things, of course, that I don't like about current skateboarding. Like the whole things around, you know, Olympics and the competition aspect of it.
Yeah.
That can lead to some, you know, unnecessary situations.
Yeah.
If I'm against anything in skateboarding, I'm against
sportification of it, kind of, or I understand.
Like all this, you know, federations, associations, you know, I'm not okay with it. But I'm trying to do my thing, and then this is my focus. I don't, you know.
You're not thinking about the Olympics every day, all day.
No. I don't fight with anybody, you know.
There's room for everybody.
Yes, and showing, you know, the good example is the best way to keep it going, I think.
And what about, like, do you have, like, an eye on someone to become a future gray area member? You said the next project there will be a part from someone, but is it someone that's already in the crew, or is it a new addition?
Yes, there's a guy, and he's from Poland. Because, like, I don't consider gray area as a Poland-only project.
For sure, no, it's very international.
My goal is to showcase Eastern European skateboarding. Because back when I started, of course, my main goal was to put Poland on the map.
Yeah.
But then now I want to show, you know, Eastern European skateboarding.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is this guy. I'm not gonna
say his name.
You know, yeah, I still keep it as a kind of surprise. But he's not like one of these, you know, super young guys. He's like already 20 something. So.
Oh yeah, so he's not like a teenager.
No.
Okay.
But for sure, there's like some, you know, young talents in Poland. But I'm not a fan of like giving people at such a young age shine, you know. Because you don't know, like, what kind of person he will become later.
Yeah.
So, of course, you have to support them, you know. It's good to support them, to guide them, to show them, like, options. But, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of having, like, the young guys in the mix. Also because of the the bad influence you can have on them, you know. Because there's lots of different things, you know, happening on trips, you know. Not always necessarily, you know, the good ones, let's say.
Okay.
So they will have time for it, you know, when they turn, you know, 16, 17.
Yeah. Below that age is a bit too young to kind of expose them to, I understand.
Plus, you know, like most of the young guys, at least in Poland, but I think it's also everywhere, they are super focused on the competition side of skating now.
Oh, yeah?
They aim to become members of the Polish national team, you know, so let's let them do that. If they change their mind and they will change they shift the focus, then we can start talking.
Yeah. No, they can maybe want to join a project like yours, and for sure. Yeah, let's wrap it up here. Thank you so much, Kuba.
Thank you.
That's it for my conversation with Kuba. Follow him on Instagram at Kuba, Kuba _Kaczmarczyk, KACZMARCZYK1. Follow Grey Area at Grey_Area_skateboarding, and go visit grayareaskate.com to watch some of Kuba's video projects and buy some Grey Area gear. And of course, keep an eye out for his newest video project coming very soon. Thank you for tuning in. See you soon for a new episode of Beyond Boards.